everyone, welcome to Ashirali and welcome to Tuesday Talks, a space where we learn and grow together. For everyone who's new to this channel, I'm Ashirali. I'm an NLP master practitioner and a yoga teacher. The idea of this channel came around when people started coming to me for some advice around certain topics that they wanted to work around. And that's how Ashirali Wellness, this YouTube channel, came into being, so that in whatever small way that we can, help people who need help. And as they say, with every drop, the ocean fills up. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. That small drop of an effort in this big ocean that is life. Anyways, Tuesday Talks is a kind of thing that has been lingering on my head for a while now. I've done a few talking videos in the past, be it the nutrition video with my friend Shraddha, the inclusion video with Rahima, or the intention setting video at the beginning of the year that I did on my own. Well, I'll link a few in the description below. And for people who know me through yoga, hey, the yoga classes will continue every Thursday. I call them Thursday Therapy, where we practice what we preach. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Today's video is a requested video from a friend in the yoga community. She wanted to know how can she make her yoga classes more immersive for her students so that it feels like they are doing a physical yoga session. And believe it or not, for a lot of us, online yoga or teaching yoga online is going to be the reality. So I thought this would be a great idea to make a video and maybe help her and other people that need that support. So without wasting your time, let's get into the 4 things that I feel are important. The basic 4 things that you need to create an immersive yoga class experience for your students. Tip number 1. Very, very simple tip. Have a good internet connection. So choose a good service provider and take your yoga class in a room where you have good internet connectivity. And while you're taking your class, ensure that your family members are not taking away the bandwidth of the internet. So my husband loves playing the PlayStation, but he's not allowed to play it while I'm taking my yoga class. So please ensure that you have a great internet connection. Tip number 2 is framing. So as you can see, my yoga mat is right here, and this is a frame that I generally use to kind of take my yoga class. And why is framing so important? So while you're standing, and let me move a little behind, your students need to see what you're doing from top to bottom. Ideally, there should be a little space at the top of your head so that when you go up on your toes, come down, there is space. But at the same time, there should be some space ahead of your yoga mat. That's what we call negative space. The negative space gives you more area to move around and your students can see you better. Also, your frame talks to you about who you are. It talks about your personality. So for me, for example, I have this chakra chart right here, and this talks about my inclination towards yoga, but at the same time I have my plants on this side, which talks about the fact that I love nature. And just a few elements to talk about you, who you are as a teacher, is so important. So something a friend of mine told me when I started making videos in the beginning. He said, your space is your stage. So imagine you have a stage. How would you decorate it so that the audience that you're talking to can relate to you? And that is why adding a few elements of who you are is really important. I wouldn't want a lot of clutter in the space. I've made that mistake in the past. So just a few elements, 2, 3, like I have the yoga mats, the chakra chart and the plant are more than enough. Now, after framing, how do you do the framing is very important. So this is a part of tip number 2, which is going to be the longest of the other tips that I'm going to give you. So for framing, there are a few ideas. First of all, you would be using either one of these devices, a phone, a tablet or an iPad, or a laptop. Or maybe if you're someone who's a little more tech crazy like me and teaching group classes, you would be using a monitor. Whatever device you're using, the device has to be kept on an elevated object. So either you're using a tripod or you're using a table. But please have a table or a tripod close to you so that the object is elevated. The higher it is, the more space you get to cover with the camera. So ensure that it is high. Second, for example, when I'm talking to this camera, it is at eye level. That may not be practically possible with a laptop, but with your iPad or phone, if you're using a tripod, try to keep it at eye level when you're standing, and then when you're sitting, just keep the frame so that people can see you better. Now in framing, let's talk about the devices that I use to keep that frame intact. If I'm using a monitor, I use a webcam. Now when I bought a webcam, we were under lockdown and I didn't have a lot of options, so I just have a very basic webcam with no company. But Logitech has some really amazing webcams that you can use and place it on top of your monitor. The second device that you may be using, which is the next favorite, is a laptop. Now, while you're using a laptop, I would recommend to buy something like this. This is like a tripod for your laptop. Ideally, it comes in such a form which is easy to carry around, and you can actually use this while you're working out of coffee shops if you are doing that. You press on this black button, open it up, open up the legs, and voila, you have a tripod for your laptop. That way, when you keep your laptop on top of a desk, you have more space that you can work with. It will help you get a better frame for your yoga class. So that's how, when I place my laptop on top of this tripod, I get a little more elevation as compared to if I would have kept it flat. If I keep it flat, it's that way. When I keep it on the tripod, it's a little more bent towards, and you'll get more space and more frame area for your classes. And like I mentioned, definitely remember to keep the laptop on top of a table or at least a chair so that you get more space to work with. The table is the most ideal because you really have it at a level which is amazing for you being in the frame. The second device that you might be using is an iPad or a tablet. And I would suggest, again, investing in a tripod like this one that I have. You can invest in a complete tripod for the camera or a small one which can again be kept on the table. And then you can adjust using the screw, adjust the angle of your iPad forward or back. And the clasp that I have on the iPad, it's similar to a phone clasp, but this is a bigger one for the iPad, so definitely invest in something like this if you're using your tablet so you get more frame area for your classes. Just as I use a tripod for my iPad, I use one for my phone. This in fact is multi-use because this is like a selfie stick which I can use to actually click pictures while I'm traveling. And at the same time, this can open up and become a tripod which I can then extend for as long as I want, place it on the floor and get a good frame range. I can also place the phone on the tripod on the table and use it that way. This is a great investment and I'll link this one in the description as well. With a phone, it's not the best device to use if you're doing group classes, so I would recommend using the phone only in cases of emergency when you're traveling or when you're doing one-to-one sessions. If you're doing bigger groups, I would highly recommend having a laptop or a tablet or an iPad because you will be able to look at your students better, because that's also very important so that you can correct them as you go. The third tip for an amazing online yoga class is lighting. So for lighting, there are a few things that you can do. For free, you can place your device right in front of a window and let the light fall on the object, which is you. So as you can see, I have a window here and I have a window behind this camera. And that way, the light is falling on me and you can see me clearly. You can also use home lamps in your home, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would either recommend using the natural light from the window or investing in lights like these. These can easily be adjusted as per the intensity that you need. So that's the brightest, and then you can adjust the light intensity. using this knob over here. So there is this one that I used with a tripod. There's another small one that I really like. This is rechargeable. I love this. This is from a company called Ulanzi, and I'll link this in the description because you won't have to buy any kind of batteries along with this. This also is rechargeable, but you invest in the light and the batteries separately, and it's a little more expensive. So using the light that you have is very similar to using the window. It should come from over the object that you're using to shoot, take the glass in, not shoot yourself. So either your laptop is in front of the window and the light goes over it, or alternatively, if imagine there's no window there, the light should go over the camera. That's why I have this tripod, so that the light goes over the camera and it should fall on the object, which is me or you who is conducting the yoga class. Now that you have your lighting all figured out, the last tip is sound. Ideally, the sound has to be great, and today, while I recorded an entire video, I used a separate mic for this video, and the mic's battery went off, but I did want to put up this video, so I'm just using the mic on this camera, and thankfully I've invested in a camera which has a good mic, so this is a great backup mic for me. But if you see my other videos that I've put recently, I have much better sound quality than what I have today. So sound is extremely important. And for sound, I would recommend a few things. Either use a set of wireless earphones, or you can use these earbuds. So I have a budget-friendly one and an expensive one with me. I invested in this budget-friendly earpods first, which was from a company called Soundbeats. As you can see, they look like the Apple earpods. And then eventually I invested in the AirPods, which have been a great investment for me. So if you're a Mac user, AirPods are amazing. If you're an Android or a Windows user, I've heard Jabra is really good. The core funda is that the mic of your earpods should be good, not the hearing experience. So when you listen to reviews online while purchasing either a budget earpod or expensive one, look for how's the mic quality, because the sound quality really doesn't matter while you're teaching the yoga class. You're not listening to people with so much of attention, like, you know, when sound quality is important, it's about the bass of the music or things like that. But you really don't need bass or any kind of music immersive experience here. You just need a decent listening experience so that you can hear your students properly. But the mic quality is extremely important so that your students should be able to listen to you properly. And that's why either the Apple AirPods, if you have a Mac, or a Jabra, or say the Soundbeats, whatever it is that fits into your budget, invest in one of these. It would take you a long way while you're teaching yoga online. Those were my 4 tips for teaching an immersive yoga class online. These are just basic tips, and I'm sure there is a lot more that can be added to teaching an immersive class. If you want to know more on how I use my camera as a webcam, or what kind of mic can I use to make a better class experience, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to make something which is more technologically advanced. But for now, these are the small tips that you can use to make your yoga class a little more enjoyable for your students. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching this video so far. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you again with another Tuesday Talks on Tuesday and Thursday Therapy on Thursday. Bye, take care, and namaste.
Do like the video if you liked it, share it with somebody who needs it, and subscribe to our channel. See you next week.